Here are some things that may be hard for a dismissive avoidant when it comes to sex. As we talked about before, sex with a dismissive avoidant can be amazing and passionate and intimate in the beginning stages of the relationship before they've really gotten to know you and before any commitment is on the line. But as the relationship progresses, the sex life tends to go like this because the dismissive avoidant begins to feel this sense of pressure and obligation. Overall, dismissive avoidants may have a just general sense of discomfort when it comes to sex. They know that they want to have that physical need met, and they know that they have desire for people and they want to connect with people emotionally, but because of the physical and psychological close proximity to one another that is involved with sex, that can be extremely difficult for a dismissive avoidant. Here are some specific things you may have noticed, and of course it may not be the same all across the board, everybody's different, but just general things. Number one, making out, especially when it involves using tongue. You may have noticed that your dismissive avoidant partner didn't really kiss you, didn't like to make out, that just wasn't their thing. If you think about kissing and making out, there is really no time that you are that close and vulnerable with another person. Your faces are literally smashed together. You are exchanging saliva. Like, there is nothing more vulnerable. That is a very intimate act between two people. The next one is foreplay. You may have noticed that your dismissive avoidant partner was not big on foreplay. And it's not necessarily because they're selfish and they just want to get right to it. It's because they feel so terrified of that vulnerability that comes with building that anticipation, taking time with someone else's body. You really have to be like emotionally connected with someone, even if you don't know the person that well. It takes this level of vulnerability and intimacy to really be one-on-one with each other in that way. You may specifically notice that the dismissive avoidant has a difficult time giving or receiving oral, because again, that is an extremely vulnerable and intimate act. One thing that can be really harmful for the dismissive avoidant is the fact that they have such a hard time with communication. It fucks up their boundaries when it comes to sex. If they are not able to communicate to you that certain things are difficult for them, then they will probably just appease you and go along with it even when they don't want to, which is really harmful on them. And it's also harmful on you because you're going to be able to feel when someone isn't really that into it or just feels obligated to do it. It's really quite sad because I think a lot of us, if we had known and if the avoidant partner was able to communicate to us and say hey, I just really have a hard time with certain types of affection. It makes me uncomfortable. I just have a hard time with that level of vulnerability. We would have been oh my God, that's completely fine. I totally respect that. I want to make sure that you're feeling comfortable with sex in the same way that I am. But when you don't know, and when that person isn't communicating those things to you, it is so easy to take them personally and to think that that person just doesn't want to do those things with you because maybe you're gross, maybe you have bad breath, maybe you're gross down there, whatever. You'll tell yourself a million things thinking that it must be a personal issue.